we come here on your radio, and if you listen to us on podcast each and every week, without fail, 52 weeks, we do take breaks for our staff, but we still put together our best of interviews. So technically, we never vacate this space you're in right now. So in that respect, we don't take any time off. We thought, too, you might be wondering, some of you who have joined us more recently, since last time we've done this, we should introduce ourselves. And, last week we talked with Brad Sturry. He told us things about him. This week it is Mr. Michael Cagley who is going to spill the beans. So, Mike, let's get it started. Tell us a little something about yourself before we jump in with some probing questions.
Well, I am the oldest member of the IlliniGuys. So that gives me the extra wisdom that people notice week in and week out on the show.
Notice?
I think that's what it is.
Dementia.
Yeah. Whatever you want to call it, get potato, but no, I'm a longtime sales guy. So, did a lot of sales in my past. Now I'm working, I'm a customer service guy. And like Brad, I've done a lot of coaching, although he's done it for years and years. I only did it for 10 or 12, coaching AAU basketball. So, but we are all three of us share the fact that probably about 3 or 4 years old, we were stuck in front of the TV watching football, basketball, baseball, and we have a very long memory when it comes to sports and our fandoms.
Yes. Larry was wearing a 3-piece suit. What were you wearing, Mike, when you were 3 or 4 years old?
Oh, I'll tell you what, my mom loves to tell a story that apparently the first football game I allegedly watched, Dad said the Cowboys and Redskins were on, and apparently I came in my best Ked impression with a pair of toy chaps and a toy hat and the cap gun. Remember the old cap guns?
Oh, yeah.
And I thought I was watching a cowboy movie. Turned out the guys in the Stars won the game. And thank God I didn't grow up a Redskins fan. So, that could have been ugly.
Please tell me you wore pants under the chaps.
Back in those days, that was pre David Lee Roth. So I probably did have some sort of pants on underneath the chaps.
You didn't want to go commando with that and walk around the house.
Yeah, that would have been a great look.
We don't want to see your 4-year-old junk all over the floor here. Exactly. Well, okay. So getting to know Mike Cagley a little bit. You love movies, and you love wrestling.
Oh gosh. Yes.
And boy, pop music is just something you just really, if it's not Van Halen, and you mentioned an 80s group, like I think I'm not sure yet if I've thrown out an 80s group that's a pop group that you listened to back in the day.
Yeah, it was pretty much hair bands and hard rock. I was never a big metal guy, but and the 90s had good music as well. But I think I've since kind of stopped at that. I know who people are, like by name. Like I don't know if I could ever tell you what a Taylor Swift song is, but I know she's like a record-setting pop star.
All right, so now let's go here. So Larry mentioned wrestling. We know you like wrestling. So Mike, we're going to learn a little bit about you. You're going to tell us who is your favorite wrestler of all time and why.
Okay, the favorite wrestler of all time is one that's not particularly good wrestler, but the total package, Lex Luger, was definitely the guy that I liked the most. So he was a steroid guy back in the 80s and 90s, looked fantastic. And so when we were all in that phase where we were all going to be the next Arnold, lifting in college and all that and working out every day of the week. Luger was the official favorite of the guys who pumped iron all the time in the wrestling area. So we were, myself and my buddies, we liked Luger. And of course, you also had to like the Road Warriors because
Mike, I don't want to be mean here, but you did not make it to the Lex Luger physique.
Oh, good Lord. I didn't make it to the Lex Luger's pinky. Yeah, the shoulders fell apart. You tried to work out, like you had Arnold's Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding, and he would do like 600 sets. We'd do like 10 and go home and have to take Advil and ice. I don't know how he did it.
All right, so wrestling there. How'd you become such a big movie buff? Where did that start?
Oh, that's my mom. It was kind of funny because like when I was a kid, some of my memories of like, you went to Superman, you went to Star Wars, and my mom would stand with my brother and I in line, and she would be just as excited about going to the movie as we were. And I remember standing like to go to Indiana Jones, at Marketplace Mall, where they had that theater out in the parking lot. And we would, you'd be halfway in the back of the theater as you're waiting to get in. And, it'd be a bunch of kids. And then our mom would be there and she'd be like, "Oh, I can't wait for this or that." And she was just excited as we were. So that would be my mom. Meanwhile, my dad during Star Wars woke up when the Death Star blew up because it went white. The whole screen went white, and he gets kind of like, "Whoa, what?" Because that shocked him awake.
Oh, so as you go, okay, movies, and you're a big Marvel movie and superhero movies and things like that too. So now my question is, what was your superhero that you dressed up as for Halloween? And when did you stop? Like 2-3 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, I was never a big dress up guy. So probably the last Halloween I remember really like getting into is in like 4th grade, when we made our moms paint us up, and I was Gene Simmons, and we were all Kiss. So and I was never huge on the whole Halloween thing, but I will say that when I was in 1st grade, we had to write a letter that we would open when we were in 7th or 8th grade, something like that later on. And I wrote a letter, what you wanted to be. And so I wanted to be a wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys. I wanted to be the president of the United States, or I wanted to be Batman. So I've been a total failure in my professional life. I didn't hit any of the 3 goals. Yeah.
You weren't Lex Luger or Batman.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's been disappointing professional career for me.
All right. So you've been but one thing you did accomplish here, we should say too, you're married, 3 boys, great sons. And now you are a radio host. So what's the most enjoyment now that you've been co-hosting a show for the past couple of years?
Well, I think the 3 of us getting to work together has been fun. I mean, we don't argue and we have a good time. So when I was talking to somebody who out at Fox Sports Network, they actually said, they go, "I've never seen a group of guys who get along, and you're actually nice, and yet you guys don't sound like a bunch of wimps." And, because as you listen to the show, we don't whine about and scream about players. We don't do the Stephen A. Smith or the Bayless crap. We just have fun. And I think that has been a good thing. And then some of the people that we get to meet, Dennis Dodd was a great guest. I mean, how much fun was that to get a chance to meet a guy that you've read for years? We talk to guys who you also get a chance to talk to the actual athletes and coaches, which is a lot of fun. You guys know we're not here to be their friends. We're just here to interview them, and so that the fans can hear what they have to say. And it's really fascinating to get a chance to talk to these people. Josh Whitman, for example, is an excellent interview, and it's fun to do that. Brett Bielema was a great interview. We've got tons of people that we've interviewed across the Big Ten, and you learn something every day when you get these people, and I really enjoy that.
Well, I think from the other thing, let's make sure we mention that you are married to a saint.
Yes.
I mean,
we are.
She
has
to be.
She does, because I remember the story I told her about when I went in. It was my first basketball game that I'd covered as in the press, and post game there's a meal there in the State Farm Center, and I'm talking to Coach Underwood, and I just follow him in. He gets a plate full of food. I get a plate full of food. We sit down and talk, and he just looks confused the whole time. And I'm like, wonder what that was. Well, then I find out the next week, one of our other reporters tried to get a plate of food after the game, and he wasn't with the coach. So they told him the press doesn't eat a second meal. So, I'm sure Coach Underwood is still like, why is this guy, what is he doing?
Who was that guy sitting eating with me, and why is he sitting there?
Good food too.
Wasn't the media popcorn and hot dogs and
Imagine,
I will
imagine
say,
Mike getting a second meal too.
yeah, exactly. I
Here's a
will say, when you talk about the different schools, I've whined about, but Illinois has an excellent spread. I don't think you can throw any rocks. Now, if you want to throw a rock, you go over to Purdue, where they put some, Wonder Bread with a single piece of thinly cut turkey and a piece of cheese, and they put it in saran wrap, and that's your meal. And I'm like,
It just sits out there. They do have chips in bags.
yes, they did
They
have
do have
chips.
bags of chips. You can, and sometimes you can find water if they don't run out.
Yeah, and I was thinking to myself when I went through the line, I saw that sandwich. I'm like, I wonder if I can snag 2 bags of chips.
What surprised me about the story you told about Purdue and then Illinois, going to my first Illinois game in 30 years, a couple of years ago, the first game in the Bielema era.
Yep.
I didn't realize they brought beer out afterwards. Like that was like back in my CNN days, that was like an NBA Finals thing. They'd bring beer. I mean, I was like, wow, there's beer here for like the local here in Champaign.
It's the leftover from the sweets. They bring it down and.
Oh, is that okay? That's what it is. Okay, all right.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I don't drink enough beer to make it advantageous. But one of the funnier stories is when you start a business and then your athletic director hires a really good football coach when you are thinking that you may not have to worry about football season. And, and then all of a sudden you have to go,
right?
wow, we got to cover a little more than what we thought we were going to here.
That is for sure. That is for sure. So yeah, Mike, I gotta say that it has been fun working with you on the radio. It's been really good. But I have to go back to your coaching days now. So my first, I remember covering your team,
Yeah.
and I came to a game and I got to talk to some of your kids, and that was really good. So you really did a good job coaching. So tell me your coaching philosophy. What was your
My
philosophy?
coaching philosophy is, let's play some defense because we're probably not that good on offense. And so what I would do is I'm proud of the fact I never had a losing record. I never had one of all-star teams, but I will tell you, we played good defense, and then our offense fluctuated depending on how good my assistant coach was. Because if I had an even remotely decent assistant coach, our offense was good. And if I had to coach both offense and defense, we didn't score very well. That's just not my strength.
All right. I'm going to finish up with what may be the final question here. Tell us something about you that we and our audience don't know. We know you love movies. We know you love pizza, wrestling, obviously, you're coaching, you're passionate about Taylor Swift. We know about all those things. But what's something we don't know about Mike Cagley?
Well, one of the things is that it just happened about 3 years ago. I will eat Brussels sprouts. My wife found some recipe for Brussels sprouts. It's actually pretty good. And for the first time in my life, I mean, I would not even look at those things. But now all of a sudden, I'm kind of like a Brussels sprout fan now.
So what kind are they? How'd you make them?
I don't know what she does to them.
I'm a foodie, right? So I love to do these.
I'll have to ask her about that. But
how do they flavor them?
She's got something with garlic and some sort of oil, and it's fantastic. Now, okay. I am partial to Italian food, so if you put garlic on just about anything, I'll probably eat it. Yeah. But man, it is good. And if when I ate Brussels sprouts in front of my mom, she was just like, "What the heck?"
Yeah.
Because she remembers most of the 56 years that I wouldn't touch them.
Well, your wife cannot meet my wife. Let's keep that apart.
You need to expand your horizons. Larry.
I don't. I'm good.
I love Brussels sprouts. The
I
best Brussels sprouts I've ever had?
Where?
In Las Vegas at Yardbird.
Really?
They had chicken and waffles. I got a side of Brussels sprouts, and they were like candied, and they had like all these. They were fantastic. They're like
sounds
one of the best
good.
things.
Yeah.
I ate. So we got them for the table, but no one else got any.
Wow.
Because I ate them before they got them.
I'll give you a real quick one. But yeah, we used to have bets at my sales teams. And at the end of a meal at Maggiano's, that somebody would go like 9 and 8, and then you'd hear somebody go, "I won." And I'm like, what are you guys talking about? And they go, well, the first number is how many Diet Cokes you had. The second number is how many pieces of bruschetta you had. And they would bet on it.
That's the other part too. We should say, all right, well, we hope you've enjoyed this time. We should have some theme music. This theme music of Meet the Hosts. And you now know about Mike Cagley and Brussels sprouts. Go enjoy. And we've learned about Brad as well. I'm the only one who doesn't, but I'm always the weird one. All right. We'll get back to more conversation after this.